Finally, of course, is Iran's continued ambition to produce a nuclear weapon. Now, we are told that CENTCOM really is in the final stages of putting this plan together. And if approved, it's not approved yet, if approved by both the Pentagon and, of course, the president, then we could see that naval buildup in the Persian Gulf by as early as January.
Jim, in this attempt at so-called gunboat diplomacy, if we do this and we move forward with this, if we bark, so to speak, do we have to be willing to bite?
Well, that's the big question. Just what can this accomplish? First of all, would there be international support for a U.S. naval buildup aimed at Iran and the Persian Gulf? That's not clear. And given the track record in Iraq, it may be unlikely. And then, of course, the bite you're talking about, just how far would the U.S. be willing to go? Would they, for example, take on Iranian military vessels in the Persian Gulf? And, you know, and with the threat of the kind of spike in oil prices you might see as a result of that action, just what the U.S. intends to do with those naval vessels once they get there is unclear. And of course, Iran has remained pretty much defiant to any kind of intimidation by the Western world, particularly the U.S.
Jim, we know you will be checking in on this story for us throughout the day, so we appreciate that. Thanks for being with us.
Okay, Amy.
Well, First Lady Laura Bush is fine after it was revealed last night she had a skin cancer tumor removed from her right shin. The tumor, roughly the size of a nickel, was identified as a squamous cell carcinoma, a fairly common form of skin cancer. It was caught early. It was removed last month. And when asked why she didn't reveal it earlier, the White House said Mrs. Bush considered it a private matter. It is a race against time on Mount Hood as rescue climbers search for two mountaineers before another winter storm moves into the area. Today's search is focusing on one of the most dangerous parts of the mountain, Elliott Glacier, a 400-acre slab of ice with 69-degree slopes. 13 climbers have died in this area in the past 40 years. Search parties found Brian Hall and Jerry Cook's ice axes inside a snow cave nearby, and that means the pair could have tried to scale the glacier and fell. Another grim theory is that an avalanche buried the pair under 10 feet of snow or so. Rescue teams say hope of finding those men alive is now fading.
Any piece of equipment that these climbers have that can help them, they would need it. You know, the fact of the matter is we really still don't know exactly what they have. And, you know, if there's room for doubt, there is room for hope.
NBC's Kerry Sanders is in Hood River, Oregon. So, Kerry, there have been 10 feet of fresh snow on the glacier since the team first went missing. How do crews hope to find them?
Well, it's going to be a very low-tech approach. When the sun comes up, helicopters will head out there again if weather permits, and there could be a little bit of fog issue today, but if the weather permits, they'll go out in the helicopters and they will go back and forth and just scan from above. But this is following what they've already done yesterday, and there were no significant visual clues to tell them where the men were. So it goes back to that question which you asked is, were they perhaps buried in an avalanche? Did they fall and go under the snow? And if that's happened, then it's going to be very hard to find them until, say, spring, and it'll be a body recovery at that point when the area begins to thaw and some of the snow disappears. The teams that are on foot will go in the area today, but not specifically into the gullies near the glacier. They'll be at a lower altitude, also on the north side, in the off chance that these two men may have been able to walk that far down. But again, there's been no visual evidence thus far from the helicopters. I spoke to one of the pilots yesterday who said that they could see very clearly. They had great sight lines throughout the area yesterday and did not see anything from above that indicated where these men were. So they could possibly have gotten into an ice cave, a little snow cave. It's a thing you dig out, they crawl up underneath there. It actually is quite warm in there compared to the outside temperatures because it's 32 degrees. There's no wind. Likely, if they're together, the men would be huddled together in an embrace to keep each other warm. But with all of that, they're exhausted. They're probably unable to focus, say the medical experts. In fact, they might not even be able to respond to the sound of a helicopter if they could hear it. I did a story a few years ago where I got into one of these snow caves where they were demonstrating, and you can't actually even hear much inside there. The insulation from the snow is so strong. Amy?
And Carrie, give us a sense of what this topography was like. We've heard a lot about this area and the fact that it has proven deadly over the past several decades, and the hope then obviously fading that these men were able to navigate their way down given such treacherous terrain.
Well, typically what the mountaineers tell me is that while people will often approach up the north side, the most challenging side, that when they depart the mountain after making to the summit, they go down to the south, which is an easier terrain for a mountaineer to come down. The slope is not as sheer. In this particular case, if they're coming back down the north, it's very sheer, very hard, and extremely difficult on a good day, much less for two guys who are exhausted at this point.
All right, Carrie Sanders, we appreciate it. Thank you. Well, there is a winter storm warning out this morning across the southwest, up to 2 feet of snow and potentially damaging ice storms. WeatherPlus.com meteorologist Jackie Moretsky is tracking New Mexico's first winter storm of the season. Jackie.
Good morning, Amy. New Mexico certainly making weather headlines today. In fact, the Four Corners looking at stormy weather for the next 36 hours. So let's get into the setup. Whenever we see temperature contrasts like this, 31 in Lubbock, 64 in San Antonio, that's usually a sign that active weather's on the way. Then you factor in this strong low pressure system ejecting eastwards across the low country from California. That low kicking up stormy weather, and we're looking at the potential for ice accumulations across the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles. This is all going to push into the central and northern plains through the overnight tonight. The stormiest weather, well, windy conditions and a lot of snow in New Mexico, as well as some of the higher elevations in Colorado, Aspen, Vail, Breckenridge, getting more snow as well. Let's focus on Albuquerque because this is a city that gets a lot of sunshine all year round. Amy, 3 to 5 inches is expected by the end of the day today. Periods of snow showers. And as we move a little bit further east, Las Vegas, New Mexico, it's snowing. I think we both know someone who's at his ranch right now in Las Vegas.
Oh, I'm sure he's cursing the snow as we speak. All right. Thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Right.
Well, the fate of Miss USA Tara Conner should become clearer in about 2 hours. Donald Trump expected to announce whether or not she will be stripped of her crown. A firestorm has erupted over Conner's alleged substance abuse and nonstop partying that has caused her to miss promotional appearances. She just turned 21 yesterday. For more on what Mr. Trump will likely decide, we're joined by Access Hollywood's Tim Vincent. So, Tim, any indication which way the Donald is leaning? We know that he himself does not drink. I wonder what his tolerance of that would be.
I think the only person who knows exactly what that decision at the moment is the Donald himself. We're on 56th Street at the moment, just off 5th Avenue, and there's about half a dozen reporters out the front with TV crews, all waiting to see what he's going to say. But at the moment, everybody's just waiting, and I think that's probably part of the plan behind Trump today.
Tim, let me ask you this. How long had this partying been going on? We're just hearing about this over the past couple of days. But how long had this been going on in terms of what the hard facts are, what we actually know?
Well, we have to, first of all, stress it's uncorroborated reports. We're not sure this is exactly the truth, but certainly over the last few weeks, people have been hearing whispers, and maybe going back a couple of months, people have seen her out and about, but she's been accused of drinking, partying, staying out late, and more importantly, skipping some events which are related to the Miss USA pageant, which I think is probably the most important thing for the Donald to consider.
Tim, have you been talking to people out there in New York? What do they think? Do they think that Tara should keep her tiara, or should she let Miss California give it a whirl?
Do you know what? It falls into two very distinct camps. A lot of people are saying she's a young girl, she's got the world ahead of her, and she's just enjoying life. The other camp is saying very much that the Miss USA title is a very prestigious title and that she should not be taking this lightly.
All right. Well, we appreciate your level of concentration, given all of these sirens there behind you in Manhattan. Tim, thanks for being with us.
My pleasure.
Well, a father goes ballistic in court. Wait until you hear about the terrifying attack that brought on this courtroom brawl. It was all caught on a chilling 911 tape. And the mounting costs of the search on Mount Hood. Will family members be forced to pay to keep up this desperate rescue effort for 2 missing mountaineers?
Tonight, with so many soldiers on multiple tours of duty, how much more can American troops withstand? A special hardball with Chris Matthews. MSNBC tonight at 7.
Paula Sela is a real Geico customer, not an actor. So to help tell her story, we hired that announcer guy from the movies.
When the storm hit, both our cars were totally underwater.
In a world where both of our cars were totally underwater.
We thought it would take forever to get some help.
But a new wind was about to blow.
With Geico, we had our check in 2 days.
Payback. This time, it's for real.
Geico. Real service, real savings.
We wanted to be able to email Mom and Dad, but they don't like to use their computer. They say it's too complicated. So we got them something really easy, an HP printing mailbox, and presto.
Introducing the HP printing mailbox powered by the Presto service. It's easy for you and easy for them.
They took it out of the box, plugged it into the outlet and phone, and presto, they were connected. Now we send them email and photos nearly every day.
Think of it, beautiful pictures and letters without a computer or an internet connection. It's the high-tech solution for low-tech loved ones.
I think the idea of the Presto printer is absolutely marvelous.
I like the Presto because it is easy to set up.
The Presto printer is really a great way to communicate.
Call or go online now and get a free brochure to learn more about the HP printing mailbox and Presto. Let Presto help you stay connected to the ones you love.
Call 1-800-501-8895. That's 1-800-501-8895. Or go to prestonow.com.
Cars are fun. Shopping for them should be too. VHICS.com. Visit the Accord showroom at VHICS.com to take a virtual test drive in the 2007 Honda Accord. Just go to VHICS.com/Honda.
If you're tired of paying for high-priced, old-fashioned help wanted ads in the newspaper, then do what over 1,000 other business owners have done. Make the switch to PortlandJobFinder.com. Brought to you in partnership with Comcast Spotlight.
We've been using Portland Job Finders for about 8 to 10 months. We've really enjoyed the customer service. We've had success in our pharmacy as well as our medical records in our accounting department. We'll continue to use them in the future.
PortlandJobFinder.com. We're the faster, more effective way to find and hire the local employees that you need now.
Rescue efforts on Mount Hood are entering day 9, and coordinators say there is no way to put a price tag on how much money is being spent. The Hood River County Sheriff's Office estimates a cost of roughly $5,000 a day for the first 3 days, and then that daily price tag increased to $6,500 over the weekend. The question is, should the families of these mountaineers foot the bill? Oregon is one of 5 states legally able to charge for rescue efforts if the victim did not use reasonable care or violated protocol. Avalanche expert Dale Atkins is a Mount Hood rescuer, and we appreciate you joining us this morning, Dale.
Thank you very much.
The cost on this one, in terms of the law, Oregon, I think, is able to charge $500 a person for search and rescue efforts. And I know the price tag of this particular search has become quite a big one indeed. But do you think it's justifiable in this case? Can you put a price tag on what's being done there?
Sure, you can put a price on everything, but in terms of search and rescue, the mountain rescue community is really opposed to charging for rescue, and we're glad when we hear sheriffs saying they're not going to be charging.
Does it matter how or why a person finds themselves in trouble? In this case specifically, you know, winter mountaineering, where you know the risks you're taking when you go up there, and they chose a very difficult path. Does that, or should that factor at all into weighing in a decision on this as to whether or not money becomes an issue?
I don't think it should. These people, and in almost all situations, they're really trying to be careful and safe when they're out there. And accidents do happen. It doesn't matter how good you are. Accidents do happen.
I'm curious, Dale, we hear about the search that's continuing right now on Mount Hood, and there is, according to the search and rescue teams, they're on the ground, a high probability that these 2 missing mountaineers fell and could be buried under as much as 10 feet of snow. At what point do you make the call that you say, you know what, we've done all we can do, and we're going to have to wait until the season's over?
You know, that decision's a very difficult one to make, and that's going to be up to the rescue teams and the sheriff's departments to make, but it's really looking at the resources that they've used and allocated, and it's when they reach a point they think they've really done everything they possibly could do, then you start winding down.
We keep talking about how this is an extreme sport, and obviously you know a lot about this particular sport of winter mountaineering. Just how dangerous is what these three men set out to do? Were the odds stacked against him, or did a freak, accident happen, or a freak winter storm come in? How prepared can you be for this type of sport?
You can be very prepared, and these men were very prepared. And we have to keep in context at their experience level and what they enjoy doing. And they were out, they were ready for conditions, but they also got hit by one of the worst storms this century. And sometimes we can't compete with nature.
All right, we appreciate you joining us, Dale Atkins. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, a frightening experience for a Massachusetts woman led to an emotional outburst by her father in the courtroom. Clifford Maraglia is seen attacking Derek Allen, the man responsible for breaking into his home and holding his daughter and her newborn baby hostage. On Saturday night, Southbridge police responded to this 911 call.
Southbridge emergency line, Sergeant Court Officer Campbell speaking. There's somebody in my house. I have a baby downstairs. We got a child downstairs and she's upstairs. They're going up the stairs. Melissa, stay on the line with me, okay? Do you hear police? Units, you gotta get in there. He's got her, units.
I have a baby in the house. I have a baby in the house. Please don't hurt me. Please don't hurt me. Get off that bed. Get off that bed right now. Get off that bed. I have a knife.
Wow, that just sends chills up and down your spine. Well, Clifford Maraglia is free now, awaiting a court appearance for disorderly conduct. Derek Allen is still in custody. It's unclear why he broke into the home in the first place. But again, some pretty dramatic 911 tape and certainly a dramatic aftermath in that courtroom. British police have arrested another suspect in the grisly murders of 5 prostitutes. Just yesterday, a man identified as Tom Stevens was taken into custody and questioned by authorities. Stevens has denied any involvement in the killings. For the very latest on this most recent arrest, we're joined from London by NBC's Donna Friesen. So, Donna, what can you tell us?
Well, Amy, the second man's a 48-year-old. He was arrested at 5 o'clock this morning at his home, which is not far from the red light district in Ipswich, where the murdered women worked. Police aren't identifying him. They're saying nothing about him, though sources have told the British media he is well known to prostitutes in town. So it could mean progress in the case, but it's important to note neither of these men have been charged yet. They're only being questioned at this point. The first man, as you mentioned, Tom Stevens, has done interviews with the media before his arrest. He said he knew all of the dead women, that he paid several of them for sex, but that he did not kill them. The big question is whether the police have any forensic evidence linking either of these men to the crimes, and crime scene investigators have been conducting incredibly detailed searches today at the homes of both these men. They've been seen doing meticulous fingertip searches, in the gardens of both of the homes. They're using metal detectors. They were using rakes. They're down on their hands and knees searching every inch of ground. They've taken away the vehicles of both men. The tricky part is because we're talking about prostitutes who had a lot of clients, if they do find forensic evidence of the women in a car or a home, is that an innocent consequence of the kind of lives these women lead, or is it evidence connected to their murders? So the police have a lot of work ahead. Amy?
All right, Donna Friesen, thank you. America's mayor wants to be your president, and tonight he is going to raise some cash to do just that. So how much will he need? And a big decision for the Donald. Should he fire Miss USA over scandals involving drugs, alcohol, and the young beauty queen's passionate kiss with another girl?
Okay, girls. This one's for us. It's L'Oreal's new Age Perfect makeup. It helps transform your complexion from dull to radiant. New Age Perfect gets back at those little spots and wrinkles. Now, my skin, I'm talking radiant. New Age Perfect skin supporting and hydrating makeup by L'Oreal.
Welcome to the Earth. It's a great time to be alive. You'll learn things in kindergarten your parents didn't know in college. You might take your first road trip in a car that runs on water. And you'll experience what at GE we call early health, a completely new way of looking at healthcare that just might make this the best time to be alive. Oh, and by the way, someone is going to walk on Mars. maybe even someone you know. Welcome to the Earth from GE. Healthcare reimagined. GE. Imagination at work.
Are you like me? I have high blood pressure and I have high cholesterol. Sometimes problems come in twos, but sometimes help can come in one. Catawit. Catawit contains the leading branded blood pressure medicine, Norvasc, and Lipitor, the leading branded cholesterol medicine, combined in one pill, Catawit. Catawit is one of many treatment options that I discussed with my doctor. Ask your doctor if Catawit is right for you. Along with diet and exercise, one pill doing two jobs for me. My doctor said Catawit is not for everyone. It's not for people with liver problems and women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. To check for liver problems, you need simple blood tests. Tell your doctor about any heart problems and all other medications you are taking, or if you experience muscle pain or weakness, as they may be a sign of a rare but serious side effect. For blood pressure and cholesterol-lowering benefits, it's Catawit. One pill, two medicines. Makes sense to you? Makes sense to me. One pill, two medicines. Ask your doctor if Catawit is right for you.
Diamonds, the gift of love. The Jewelry Exchange has thousands for every budget. 1 carat solitaires are $5.99, 2 carat $19.90, and 1 carat ISI quality sold elsewhere for over $5,000 are just $2,900. The Jewelry Exchange has thousands of GIA large and fancy diamonds at the guaranteed lowest price. High-end diamonds are shown loose, then set and sized while you watch. Plus no interest for 6 months. Buy Factory Direct, the Jewelry Exchange, with superstores nationwide or online at jewelryexchange.com.
Anytime the IRS contacts you, it is serious. The worst thing you can do is talk with them. The best thing you can do is call us right away. Our former IRS agents and tax professionals will stop IRS harassment, prepare your unfiled tax returns, and solve your IRS problem. Call us now. We'll get between you and the IRS. We'll make sure they treat you fairly and treat you with respect. Tax Masters, we solve your tax problems. Call us now at 1-800-581-0448.
Well, tonight, Rudy Giuliani holds his first major fundraiser. I'm there, really, I promise. Since forming a committee to explore a run for the White House, like other Republican candidates, the former New York mayor hopes to attract people who gave money to President Bush in 2004. But an analysis by the Arizona Republic shows Senator John McCain has the edge on that one, taking in more than $1.4 million from former Bush donors in the last year and a half. Giuliani, on the other hand, has received just $500,000 from the Bush Money Network. President Bush labeled his donors Rangers or Pioneers, depending on how much money they gave. Well, we have word Giuliani will have a baseball theme, calling his donors team captains, sluggers, and all-stars. Well, let's talk about all this with Fred Dicker, state editor of the New York Post and host of the Live from the State Capitol radio show. Fred, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Amy.
So, do we know yet what kind of fundraiser Rudy Giuliani can be, will be on a national level?
Well, we think he's going to be an extraordinary fundraiser, even though he's sort of getting into the game late tonight in New York. It'll be a modest $500,000 or so that he raises. But since he's a superstar, Amy, the thinking is that he can raise almost an unlimited amount of money should he choose to run.
Obviously, Giuliani's challenge in the upcoming primaries will be those social conservatives, that group of people who may not agree with his stand on many of the issues. And well, we have to show it. He's got a picture of him out in drag that, may come up during the election as well. Do we have it? It's great. Rudy Giuliani as Marilyn Monroe. There it is. All right. Yeah. But on the other hand, he can get contributions from moderate Republicans, the same people who give money to people like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Can that money offset the money he may not get from social conservatives?
I think so. The sense is that Rudy Giuliani has an extraordinarily broad appeal. He appeals to independent voters, moderate voters, some Democratic voters. So the chances are money is not going to be a huge factor for him, even though it's so important. Keep in mind, too, that unlike John McCain, Rudy Giuliani is very rich. And in the private sector the last few years, it's estimated that he's been making tens of millions of dollars on the low end personally, and if he had to, he could throw a lot of that money into the campaign.
Fred, how much do you need to be a competitive candidate in the primaries?
Well, you need name recognition. That's what the money's mainly for. He's already got that. He probably could do fine, thank you very much, with $15 or $20 million. People do not think he's going to have a problem raising that. He has $2 million in the bank right now, left over from his Senate race in 2000, his ill-starred Senate race. He'll raise maybe $500,000 tonight. Again, though, when it comes to Rudy Giuliani, money is not expected to be a problem.
Let's say Giuliani does win the Republican nomination. How does he match up in campaign cash to someone like, let's say Hillary Clinton?
Well, I think he'll be competitive with her. I mean, that will be one of the greatest political races in New York history, I think everybody would agree. Two extraordinary figures, two remarkable figures in their own way. So I think it would be very, very competitive. Obviously, Mrs. Clinton could raise mega bucks, but so too can Rudy Giuliani.
All right. Fred Dicker, we appreciate it as always. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
We are awaiting word from Donald Trump as to his decision regarding Miss USA Tara Conner. Conner's crown is in jeopardy. You might have heard a little bit about it following a series of reports surrounding alleged substance abuse and good old-fashioned hardcore partying. For more on what to expect, we are joined by Noah Levy from In Touch magazine. Noah, thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so some news organizations have skirted around it. Some have come out and just talked about it, but many people are discussing not only her hard partying, the cocaine allegedly found in her system, but this kiss.
Yes.
This kiss. What do we know about it?
Well, what we know thus far is that Tara Conner was reportedly seen kissing the 18-year-old Miss Teen USA.
Her roommate.
Her roommate, her friend. I mean, this is a scandalous thing. This pageant is taken very seriously. This is an American history. This is big for us. And to have scandal surrounded by it, not only is Donald Trump upset, but a lot of Americans as well.
Because this isn't something, and we say reportedly, allegedly, because a lot of this is coming from the club scene in New York.
Exactly.
Eyewitness reports. What do we know about her ways and where she frequents and what she does in these clubs?
Well, where she has been thus far is a hot nightclub called Stereo. She's been there a lot, hanging out with the owners of Stereo. She's also been at a hot club called Guest House. Now, she's been seen at random places with a bunch of different celebrities, but she has been romantically linked to MTV VJ Damien Fahey. And we are waiting to see if this is true or false, but this is another allegation on top of many others.
I may live in Manhattan, but I am totally and completely ignorant of the party scene there. And I have 2 kids, so I'm at home, watching DirecTV.
Yeah.
Is she doing anything different than other people are doing in these clubs?
Well, not necessarily. I mean, the thing is, you have to hold a certain responsibility as being a young adult in the New York club scene, and you have to hold your own. And the thing is,
and it's good to be 21, I would imagine, as well.
Well,
and she wasn't at the time.
It's interesting that you bring up the age 21. She did actually turn 21 just yesterday. And I don't imagine that she had the most festive of celebrations.
She was supposed to have a big one in Las Vegas, correct?
Well, there was a rumor that she was going to have a celebration at the nightclub Pure. I don't see that that was happening as these allegations did come out.
And what about this other report that she was utilizing Trump Tower facilities to entertain some men? I mean, what do we know about that?
Well, I mean, she was staying in a Trump facility provided by Donald Trump as being crowned Miss USA. The stories are that at late hours in the night, she had an array of men coming into her hotel rooms. And, this is definitely scandalous on many levels because this is her job and it's a professional thing for her to be staying in Trump's
So would you say, Miss California, get ready?
Well, I would say, Miss California, why don't you try on the crown and see if it fits? Right now, we're waiting to see if she will be crowned. But Tamika Nash is reportedly going to be the next Miss USA.
All right. We will see very shortly. Noah Levy, thank you. We appreciate it.
Anytime. Thank you.
Well, it's a big sign that America might be going to pot. Marijuana, now the largest cash crop in the United States. Will it add fuel to the debate over legalizing marijuana?
On a late September morning in 2004, Sergeant William Payne's unit wraps up an operation in one of Baghdad's toughest neighborhoods. Suddenly, a speeding car packed with explosives careens onto the street, exploding into the rear of a Bradley troop carrier, trapping 2 soldiers inside. With enemy fire raking the roadway, Sergeant Payne ran over to the burning vehicle and pulled out the wounded crew, saving their lives. Sergeant Payne later said, "All the training just kicked in. I didn't really have time to think about it." In a Baghdad ceremony celebrating his heroism in combat, Sergeant Payne's own father proudly pins the Silver Star to the uniform of his son. Sergeant William Thomas Payne, courage and uncommon valor.
It's real criminals, real drama on the MSNBC Doc Block. At 10, justice here is really old school.
I chose to be executed by firing squad.
Lockup, Utah State. Then at 11, a young boy dead, his best friend accused.
We're not going to get away with this.
Or will he? Crime and Punishment, the MSNBC Doc Block, tonight beginning at 10.
Stop wasting my time. When you're a business owner, you don't just know the cost of doing business, you feel it. That's why Open created the new American Express Simply Cash business card. Simply Cash gives you 5% back on gas and wireless phone service, 1% back on virtually everything else. Your cash back appears automatically each month on your statement, with no limit to how much you can earn. Call 1-800-NOW-OPEN to apply. Open, how American Express serves small business.
At Rasmussen BMW, it isn't about how many cars are sold. It's about customers and a buying and ownership experience that can't be found at any other luxury car store. That's the Rasmussen BMW difference. At Rasmussen, you'll find new and certified pre-owned BMWs and special BMW lease and finance rates like those available now on the 2006 325 Ci. And you'll find Rasmussen people. Discover the Rasmussen BMW difference at Southwest Jefferson at 20th.
Who's fast? I'm fast. Yes! Bang! Gotcha!
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Do you work here?
Yeah! I started back in April with, no. Look, please don't make me leave. My company only has DSL.
Make your office more productive with speeds up to twice as fast as DSL, McAfee security included free, and 24-hour support. Comcast Workplace. Speed, security, know-how.
They're calling it cheap chic. Why stores are making it easier for women to look like they've spent a fortune on fashion. NBC Nightly News tonight.
Turn left. Turn clockwise. Over. Turn under. Turn left at intersection. Destination ahead.
Navigate your holidays. From now until January 2nd, purchase or lease any specially equipped Cadillac and we'll pay for the navigation system. Season's best. From Cadillac.
MSNBC Up to the Minute is brought to you by Cadillac.
A preliminary hearing will be held this morning for a woman accused of stabbing a young mother and kidnapping her 1-week-old daughter. You may remember this story. Shannon Torres allegedly attacked Stephanie Oceanbine with a knife, slashing her throat and then running off with the infant. Well, the mother survived. The little girl was found safe. Remember, she had that strawberry birthmark, and she was 4 days later in her mother's arms. With me now to discuss this case, MSNBC senior legal analyst and former Connecticut State prosecutor Susan Filan. I said, remember this case because who hasn't heard about this case? The nation was gripped. Where was this little four-day-old baby? And surely and sadly, we see what happened. Can this woman find a change? I know you said she was looking for a change of venue. Can she find a place where people haven't heard this story and haven't formed an opinion?
Right, that's the thing. She's in court today on a preliminary hearing. One of the things she is asking for, in addition to a reduction in bond, she's being held on $1 million bond, is a change of venue, saying that there's nobody in her community that hasn't heard so much about this case that they can judge it impartially. That's really not the standard. It's not, have you heard about this case? It's, can you put aside everything that you've heard in the media and decide this squarely on the facts that you hear in court? It was such an emotional case, and that it had an happy ending may help her with a jury, but I don't think so.
Yeah. What is she facing in terms of jail time charges, all of that?
Life in prison if she is convicted of kidnapping and these assault charges. This was a really, really heinous case where she broke into the home, stole the baby, slashed the mother's throat.
Left the mother for dead.
Left the mother for dead, and then put makeup on the strawberry mark and hold this baby out as her own. I mean, this was really a happy ending, but it was a horrible, horrible case.
So is it an open and shut case for the prosecution?
Well, her defense is going to be, I had the baby, but it doesn't mean I'm the one that went in and slashed and took it. But you can imagine with all that blood and the knife found in the cell phone, there's forensics, and there's going to be some pretty good evidence. She may end up having to try to cut some kind of a deal and plead out, because what fun would this be for a prosecutor to go to a jury with? It's a pretty strong case, and it's not real great as a defense lawyer.
All right, Susan Filan, we appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, radio shock jock Opie and Anthony at it again. The controversial pair's latest exploit, a homeless shopping spree through the upscale Short Hills Mall in New Jersey. They were treated to Christmas presents, makeovers, and booze. The stunt has one of their fiercest critics fuming. Boston Mayor Thomas Menino, who was a target of an on-air April Fool's prank back in '98, calls the quote a humiliating attempt at humor that is inhumane and shameful. Well, the news that marijuana is America's largest cash crop is adding new fuels to the debate over whether it should be legalized. Growers in the U.S. produce nearly $35 billion each year, according to a new report from a group that favors medical marijuana. That's bigger than corn and wheat combined. 5 states produce more than $1 billion apiece. Tennessee, Kentucky, Hawaii, Washington, and California, which had by far the largest production, nearly $14 billion a year. Rob Campia is Executive Director of the Marijuana Policy Project, and David Krall is Deputy Director for the Drug-Free America Foundation. Thank you both for being with us.
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity.
All right, David, the head of the group that conducted this report says, quote, marijuana has become a pervasive and ineradicable part of the economy of the United States. Like all profitable agricultural crops, marijuana adds resources and value to the economy. What do you say to that?
Well, it's a unique spin on the traditional concepts of supply and demand and what actually becomes a part of the economy itself. The growing of marijuana, as far as I know, in every state is still illegal. It presents a tremendous obstacle as far as agricultural regulation is concerned, a tremendous obstacle as far as law enforcement is concerned. Because you have this idea that marijuana now exceeds the value of corn and wheat, you have to take a look at that in relationship to the twin market forces of supply and demand. The idea is that because there's such a high supply and a relatively high demand, that increases the value of the commodity itself. But the solution to that is if you reduce the demand, then it doesn't matter how much of the supply there is, demand is going to be low enough that the value of the commodity is going to decrease.
Rob, some say this report merely confirms what we already know. There's a lot of marijuana being grown in our country. Does the inevitability of something make it right? Why should it change public policy or attitudes toward this drug?
Well, I think bringing up the law of supply and demand is actually the right way to go. Because the demand for marijuana is so high in this country, as it has been for 4 decades, we can't repeal the law of supply and demand. So, of course, for as long as people want to smoke or use marijuana, then there's going to be people who want to grow it. This report shows that decades of marijuana eradication efforts on the part of the government have completely failed. And consequently, 100% of the proceeds from the sale of marijuana in this country are going to criminals instead of legitimate businesses that actually pay taxes, where the money could be used for schools, roads, and so forth. I don't think I've seen a report that more clearly shows that our government's marijuana prohibition efforts have completely failed.
And David, let's follow up with what Rob was just saying. This is an industry worth $35 billion. That is a lot of tax revenue. Why not regulate this industry and benefit from the money it's clearly making?
Well, the problem with regulating it, and when you put age restrictions on this, what tobacco and alcohol have shown us that age restrictions do not work. And what I would suggest as an alternative is that if you want to take a look at revamping the agricultural system and looking at new policies that prohibit marijuana growth, let's take those revenues, let's take those agricultural efforts and refocus them and reframe them in terms of feeding the hungry, providing additional cash crops out there where people don't have to starve on our streets.
Rob, do you see there being a change in policy anytime soon?
I don't think that the federal government's going to change the marijuana policy anytime soon, but certainly you see a trend upwards in terms of support amongst the American people for a new approach. I mean, every poll that I've seen in the last decade shows that the American people think that the drug war has failed and that no matter how hard we try, we're never going to get rid of marijuana. So we could be the flat earth society and just keep believing and believing that somehow if we keep doing the same thing that marijuana is going to go away, or we could be realistic and say marijuana is not going to go away, people are going to be using it, and the question is, who gets the profits? To put this in perspective, they say that money doesn't grow on trees. Well, in this case, money does grow on trees. Marijuana sells for about $400 an ounce. On the retail level, gold right now is selling for about $615 an ounce. So when you're growing marijuana, you're almost growing the equivalent of gold. When something is that profitable, you are not going to stamp it out, especially with 25 million Americans who want to actually buy this product and use it.
All right, Rob Campia, David Krall, we appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Well, running out of time, rescuers brave the elements one more day to search for 2 missing climbers. The tragedy is raising new questions, though, about extreme sports and is the reward worth the risk?
In the human body, the heart pumps blood through thousands of miles of arteries every minute.
Inventor of the Jarvik artificial heart, Dr. Robert Jarvik.
But high cholesterol can clog arteries and lead to heart disease or a stroke. Adding Lipitor is proven to lower bad cholesterol an impressive 39 to 60% when diet and exercise are not enough. And today, clinical evidence proves that Lipitor can reduce both your risk of heart attack and your risk of stroke if you have several common risk factors for heart disease. All important reasons to ask your doctor about Lipitor. Lipitor is not for everyone, including people with liver problems and women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. You need simple blood tests to check for liver problems. Tell your doctor if you're taking other medications or if you have any muscle pain or weakness. They may be a sign of a rare but serious side effect. Lipitor is one of many treatment options to consider with your doctor. Could you be doing more with Lipitor? Ask your doctor.
Let me tell you about a very important phone call I made. When I got my Medicare card, I realized I needed an AARP Medicare Supplement insurance card too.
One simple call gave me the chance to talk with a personal health insurance advisor
Who answered all my questions about Medicare Supplement plans, so I could understand it all. After I called, I was able to choose the plan that was right for me.
If you're already on or eligible for Medicare, call now to find out how an AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan, insured by United Healthcare Insurance Company, helps you pay some of the 20% of your medical expenses not covered by Medicare Part B. That can save you from paying thousands of dollars out of your own pocket. These are the only Medicare Supplement Insurance plans exclusively endorsed by AARP, a name you trust. When you call now, we'll send you this free information kit with all you need to enroll, so you can join the millions of people who've already trusted us for their Medicare Supplement insurance. Plus, we'll send you this free guide to understanding Medicare.
The prices are competitive. I can keep my own doctor and choose my own hospital.
and I don't need a referral to see a specialist.
Call now to get the free information kit. Plus, we'll include this free Medicare guide. And the advantages don't end there. You can choose from a wide range of plans that are all competitively priced, so you can find a plan that best fits your needs and budget. There are virtually no claim forms to fill out. And best of all, they're the only Medicare supplement plans endorsed by AARP.
When they told me these plans were endorsed by AARP,
I had only one thing to say. Sign me up.
Call now 1-800-459-1674 and let us help you choose the right plan. So call now 1-800-459-1674 and find out about an AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan. A personal health insurance advisor is waiting for your call.
Rescue efforts are reaching critical levels today on Mount Hood. It is the tallest peak in Oregon and the second most climbed mountain in the world, just behind Japan's Mount Fuji. Mount Hood's terrain and high altitude conditions are the biggest obstacles facing search parties. Men's Journal Associate Editor Joel Weber grew up on Mount Hood, and he joins us now. Joel, thanks for being with us.
My pleasure.
So it's the off season right now. We've talked about that a lot. How many climbers potentially try to climb in these types of conditions? Just how many people would attempt such a feat?
It's definitely the minority of the climbers on the mountain. The high season really begins in the spring, and that's when as many as 10,000 people go up. And you're really looking at an elite group of mountaineers who are really attempting the mountain in the winter. So I couldn't say it's anything more than a few hundred.
Wow. And Joel, we've talked about the North Face, that this is the trek that these men went up, and the most treacherous of all of them. But how many different trails are there on Mount Hood?
There's two main ascent routes, the south side and the north side. The south side's the easier of the two. And then there's just tons of different hiking routes in the wilderness around Mount Hood. But to get to the top, there's basically those two.
You say the easier of the two, but just how easy is the south side? I mean, who could attempt it?
It's deceiving. It's not something that you need real technical mountaineering skills for, but you definitely need to be in good shape, and most people go up with guides.
So a lot of it has been made as well about these snow caves, and we've seen some graphics where they go up and back in. Just how do you learn about that? How difficult is it to make these snow caves, and how successful are they at keeping people alive in extreme weather conditions?
Well, they're very successful at keeping people alive, and most survival skill classes teach you how to make these. But basically the whole idea is to get out of the elements, because once you're inside the snow, the coldest the snow is really going to be is 32 degrees, which is dramatically different than being out in 80 mile per hour winds, for instance. As for the difficulty of building one, it really kind of depends on the conditions that you're digging in. Potentially these guys, when they were digging them, they were in blizzard conditions, which compounds it dramatically.
Well, we certainly appreciate your insight into this. Joel Weber, thank you.
Yep.
Well, today the weather is cooperating in the search effort. WeatherPlus.com meteorologist Jackie Morensky is tracking the weather there, as well as, conversely, the best conditions across the nation. Jackie.
Hey, Amy, I just want to show you the satellite of the Northwest. You've got a series of systems coming into the Northwest towards the end of the week. Thursday, major system, and then break Friday, and another system on Saturday. So today, absolutely the best chance for rescue efforts, another race against time. Now, we're going to go down the coast to California. California, Amy, it's like a playground for meteorologists. You've got so many different aspects of meteorology in this huge state. You've got mountains, the proximity to the Pacific Ocean, just about everything. So a couple things I'm going to point out here. Frost and freeze warnings, clear skies and diminishing winds, so it's quite cool in through some of the north central mountainous regions. LA, though, this is what we're looking at right now, 45. It's still quite early in Los Angeles, and you know how everyone is so fit there. So this, to me, is great running weather. By the time you get into the afternoon, warming up significantly. 63. And Amy, I'm not going to stop in LA. What we have separating LA from another great city in the south, the southeast, is this huge system, ice storm. We'll be talking about that in our worst weather. That's in the plains, but as we head into the southeast, you've got high pressure firmly in control of the weather. 53 in Atlanta. What happens as we get into the afternoon? Nothing but sunshine, bit of afternoon cumulus clouds. So LA and Atlanta make my best weather list today.
Did I hear you correctly? You picked two cities for best weather. Is that against the rules? Oh, I guess you can't hear me. Oh, well, I tried. Moving on now, the homeless street preacher accused in the 2002 kidnapping of Elizabeth Smart was again found mentally unfit to stand trial. These images show Brian David Mitchell screaming at the judge to repent. Mitchell had to be forcibly removed from the courtroom. He's been in jail along with his estranged wife, Wanda Barzee, since they were found wandering the streets of a Salt Lake City suburb with Smart back in March of 2003, and that was 9 months after she went missing. Well, how safe is your small car? And are these vehicles any match for an SUV or a pickup? We're going to get the results of some new crash tests. Plus, a health scare for First Lady Laura Bush, what you need to know about skin cancer, and how to determine if you need to see a specialist.
Tonight, wild, wacky, outrageous. These videos have to be really out there to be one of Keith's oddball plays of the year. Countdown with Keith Olbermann, MSNBC tonight at 8.
If you have a history of smoking and breathing problems, it could be COPD, which includes chronic bronchitis and emphysema. Discover Spiriva, the only once-daily inhaled maintenance prescription treatment for COPD. Spiriva keeps airways open to help you breathe better for a full 24 hours. And it's not a steroid. Spiriva does not replace fast-acting inhalers for sudden symptoms. Tell your doctor about your medicines, including eye drops and illnesses like glaucoma, urinary and prostate problems. These may worsen with Spiriva. The most common side effect is dry mouth. Others include constipation and problems passing urine. If you have vision changes or eye pain, your breathing suddenly worsens, you get hives, or your throat or tongue swells, stop taking Spiriva and contact your doctor. Spiriva is one of many treatment options to consider with your doctor. So make a habit of breathing better with Spiriva.
Exceeding your expectations since the beginning of time. Stars Cabaret.
Kids as young as 10 sniff the vapors of ordinary household products to get high. They don't know that sniffing can cause instant death. Talk to your kids. If you know what they're doing, they're much less likely to sniff inhalants.
In a place where holiday wishes really do come true. And memories that last a lifetime are made in an instant. Call today for your free Asheville Visitor's Guide and holiday package information.
Tonight, with so many soldiers on multiple tours of duty, how much more can American troops withstand? A special hardball with Chris Matthews. MSNBC tonight at 7.
Kids, we're going to visit the land of our ancestors.
Ireland?
No, credit card miles expired. Think more distant relatives. This is great! Hey, it's me, Cousin Bob! Going down.
We gotta switch to Capital One.
Get Capital One's no hassle rewards with no miles expiration, no earn caps, and no blackout dates.
See, kids, first class all the way. Something smells good.
High gas prices have made fuel-efficient cars one of the most popular sectors of the auto industry, but their small size brings up big questions about safety. Can those tiny frames keep you protected in a car crash? NBC's Tom Costello has the results from this first-ever test results on these mini cars.
Well, hello. If you are looking for a new car, perhaps one of these mini cars, then you need to be looking for that car that actually scores the best. I'm driving the Nissan Versa right now. This is the top scoring car from the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety. It is all about gas mileage, of course, if you buy one of these cars. But if you're looking for the safest car, you need to be looking for head restraints and side airbags.
At the DC Fire Academy, an exercise in the delicate job of cutting away twisted metal from a critically injured driver.
The smaller cars are going to be crumpled down so much that you're almost peeling it like an onion. You can't just take a door, cut it, and pull it off.
Now, for the first time, crash tests on the smallest cars sold in the U.S., the mini cars.
We're really concerned because when you're into vehicles this small, there's a safety issue. You know, the risk of dying in crashes is twice as high for vehicles in this size class as it is for mid-size and larger cars.
In this test, a 35-mile-per-hour barrier represents a collision with an SUV or pickup. And the side impact crash proved too much for 4 of the 8 models tested. The Hyundai Accent, Toyota Scion XB, and the Toyota Yaris without optional airbags all scored poor ratings. The Chevy Aveo scored a marginal. The head injuries, say experts, could have been severe. Next up, rear impact collisions. 7 of the 8 models tested earned a marginal or poor rating, with what the Insurance Institute claims was inadequate seat head restraints. Some of the cars tested might have performed differently with head restraints in a different position. The good news, all of the cars earned good or acceptable marks in front impact collisions. So the top overall pick, the Nissan Versa, earning good ratings in front, side, and rear impact collisions.
The Versa is a little bigger and a little heavier than the other mini cars in this group, so it has size and weight on its side, as well as good crash test results.
Toyota Yaris, Honda Fit, Mini Cooper, Chevy Aveo, Toyota Scion XB, and the Hyundai Accent all scored marginal or poor scores in 1 or more tests.
Hyundai tells NBC News it is adding active head restraints to all cars by July. Toyota says that by 2009, it will have side curtain airbags standard in all of its vehicles. Chevrolet says its Aveo has in fact passed all of the standard U.S. tests. However, the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety says if you really want to be safe, then the bigger the car, the better by and large. I'm Tom Costello in Washington. Now back to you.
Well, a bit of a scare for the First Lady. The White House revealed Laura Bush had a skin cancer tumor removed from her leg last month. It was a matter she had decided would be private until someone noticed a bandage just below her right knee. Dr. Nancy Snyderman is NBC News chief medical editor. She joins us now. Thanks for being with us.
Hi, Amy.
So the White House is saying essentially this wasn't that big of a deal. We have reported ourselves that this is a common type of cancer. But is there cause for concern here?
Well, nobody ever wants to get a cancer, that's for sure, and she's going to be paid very careful attention to over the next couple of years. But this is a skin cancer for which there are 250,000 new cases every year, and it's probably not much of a reach to say that she's now paying for the sins of a childhood that most of us shared, and that is not using adequate sun protection and being out in the sun way too much as an adolescent.
Is this type of cancer preventable?
Oh, absolutely, which is why we slather our kids with SPF of 15 and more in our sunscreens. Absolutely preventable. In fact, the Australians, recognizing that they had an epidemic, started a public campaign called Slip, Slap, Slop. You slip into a long sleeve shirt, you slap on a hat, and you slap on some sun protection, and that has cut down remarkably on their numbers. But absolutely, skin cancer is preventable.
If this was left unchecked, if she didn't do something about this, if she didn't notice it and go to the doctor, what could the long-term effect have been?
Long-term effect is especially for a squamous cell cancer that these things spread first to the skin and surrounding tissues, but they can also spread to lymph nodes. And, you know, she's sort of lucky that this was in a part of her body that things don't spread very quickly. But imagine this on the tip of a nose or an ear, which is a much more common place for sun-damaged skin. And then you're looking at terrible cosmetic issues, and those cancers can spread really very quickly. So if anything, I hope she uses this as a platform to educate people that if you've been in the sun a lot, you have to get your skin checked. And if you're a parent, this is exactly why your kids can't go outside without some kind of sunblock.
All right, Dr. Nancy Snyderman, we appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Anytime, Amy.
Eye on Iran. Is the U.S. gearing up for war with the so-called Axis of Evil nation? We're going to get some new information from the Pentagon on this developing story in just a few moments. And a big decision over whether to dethrone Miss USA. It is now in the hands of Donald Trump, and we should know her fate later this morning.
MSNBC presents the Hardball Hall of Fame, July 7, 2004.
You know, the definition of an addict, Ralph, is someone who believes that doing the same thing again will yield a different result. Why are you convinced that your result, come the day of Election Day, will not be the same as last time around, and you'll get something like 90,000 votes in a state like Florida, thereby giving the election to the president, a man who you least would like to see elected president for the next 4 years?
Because I think the Democrats, if they're in that position again, Chris, will focus on the 10 times more Democrats who deserted him in Florida and voted for Bush than those Democrats who voted for the Green Party.
MSNBC's Hardball Hall of Fame, brought to you by Liberty Mutual. Responsibility. What's your policy?
We know responsibility is a round-the-clock job, but if your home is ever damaged by fire, we have help standing by 24 hours a day. Responsibility. What's your policy? Liberty Mutual.
Okay, girls. This one's for us. It's L'Oreal's new Age Perfect makeup. It helps transform your complexion from dull to radiant. New Age Perfect gets back at those little spots and wrinkles. Now, my skin, I'm talking radiant. New Age Perfect skin supporting and hydrating makeup by L'Oreal.
Love's Journey. The Jewelry Exchange has Journey pendants for $89, 3-stone bracelets for $139, 1-carat platinum bands for $13.90, and 1-carat studs are $3.99. We guarantee our jewelry to appraise for double. Buy direct. The Jewelry Exchange with superstores nationwide.
We wanted to be able to email Mom and Dad, but they don't like to use their computer. They say it's too complicated. So we got them something really easy, an HP printing mailbox and presto.
Introducing the HP printing mailbox powered by the Presto service. It's easy for you and easy for them.
They took it out of the box, plugged it into the outlet and phone, and presto, they were connected. Now we send them email and photos nearly every day.
Think of it. Beautiful pictures and letters without a computer or an internet connection. It's the high-tech solution for low-tech loved ones.
I think the idea of the Presto printer is absolutely marvelous.
I like the Presto because it is easy to set up.
The Presto printer is really a great way to communicate. Call or go online now and get a free brochure to learn more about the HP printing mailbox and Presto. Let Presto help you stay connected to the ones you love.
Call 1-800-501-8895. That's 1-800-501-8895. Or go to PrestoNow.com.
Well, the Pentagon may be flexing its military muscle against Iran. My colleague Chris Jansing has more on that.
Yeah, there have been questions about what would the United States do. Iran has been ignoring the United Nations, ignoring the United States, who have been telling them you've got to stop your nuclear buildup. So now there's this dramatic breaking news out of the volatile Middle East, where the U.S. may be preparing to take military action as a clear warning to Iran. Military officials now confirm that a plan is underway to build up the U.S. naval presence in the Persian Gulf along the Iranian border. NBC's Jim Miklaszewski is at the Pentagon with more.
U.S. military officials confirm that the military Central Command is aggressively planning for a U.S. naval not to help fight the war in Iraq, but to